All right, Final Four is here. I'm actually so jealous right now. Carolyn is in the hotel room in Dallas, and we talked about this before we started this mini series that I knew I would be jealous when the time came to actually not be down there. But I've been searching the transfer portal, and that's been fun in of itself. But the weather here is definitely not as nice as Dallas. So Carolyn, tell us, flights were smooth. How's everything going? What do you got on the docket tonight? It's Thursday as we're recording.
Flight was smooth, timely, which I always like about a flight. And the weather is kind of cloudy here today, honestly, but it's at least warm. So I'll take that over rainy Maryland that we've been having. Tonight, gonna head up this Ari Chambers panel a little bit later today, and then maybe this welcome party, and then just kind of hang out.
Chill today, because tomorrow will be the big day, right?
Yeah, I gotta wake up at like my first round table I'm going to is like 9 a.m. So I gotta make sure I'm locked in and ready to go for that. And get started for a really great weekend.
Good stuff. Yeah, at the very end of the episode, I definitely want to touch on some of the benefits of attending the Final Four. I've gone the last 2 years, obviously skipping out this year, but just for new coaches, young coaches, GAs, Dobos, like just the benefits of why it is, why it makes sense to go. And some of the, people are kind of like, what do you do there? So kind of we'll touch on that at the very end. But getting to the games, recapping first, and then we'll make some Final Four predictions. We're going to try and keep this one a little bit tighter. Obviously, it's Thursday, games are tomorrow night. So I'm going to try and get this up tonight so that hopefully people can listen tonight into tomorrow before the games get going. So let's just start it off right here. Iowa versus Louisville. First thing I want to mention is that there was 2.5 million viewers tuned in, drew more viewers than any NBA game on ESPN this season. People are watching. Carolyn, what are your initial thoughts to that statement?
Number one, I think that's wild. 2.5 is a shit ton of people. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. That is a massive amount of people. But not surprising for Iowa and Louisville. I think that both teams draw really big crowds from their states. Caitlin Clark, Kaylee Van Lith, like just that
having that face.
Yeah, that battle and that narrative and the storyline surrounding that, I think definitely kind of leads to having 2.5 million people. I will be very interested in seeing what it is for South Carolina and Iowa.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Yeah,
I would assume that would draw more, but
I totally agree. I think that one's gonna be the most watched game this season.
Yeah.
If I can make a prediction. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt. But recapping that game, Caitlin Clark goes for 41, was earlier this week named National Player of the Year. Van Lith has 27. So the stars really showed out. Clark had a triple-double, I believe, as well, almost a quadruple-double with turnovers, is what someone told me. But, hey, when you have the ball in your hands that much, it's okay. I'm okay with, a handful of turnovers sometimes.
Handful. 9 turnovers and a handful. I think that's
9. I know. But hey, you gotta have it. You can't have it both ways all the time. So, but we're going to jump into some film on this game. So first thing I definitely wanted to touch on was their triangle and 2. So again, if you guys are tuned in to the YouTube link to this, you will see all of the film breakdown that we do. And if not, we'll try and talk it through as you're listening. So again, the link in the description below will have the video breakdown. But the first thing we want to jump into is some of Iowa's triangle and 2. So Carolyn, I don't know if you remember from the very start of this game, Louisville was up like 8-0.
Yeah, they were up quick. Yeah, they were up. And Haley Van Lith, I think, had maybe 6 of their first 8.
Yeah, right off the bat, did you, from the initial, we're like, okay, is this going to be a game?
Yeah, I was like, okay, Haley's here to put on a show. Her whole entire family is here. She is here to put on a show. And that's a big win. If they beat Iowa, that's a big win for that program, but especially for her too.
Yeah, and they kept mentioning that, like, I think it was her high school was like 2 hours away. So like you said, her whole family, it was kind of like a hometown game.
I think they bust some people from our high school there. Like it was very, very deep over there.
I can't imagine how many questions like they got from the media of asking about the other player. Like Caitlin Clark, probably every question is about Haley Van Lith. Haley Van Lith, every question is about Caitlin Clark. Like it's almost like too much. I almost feel bad for them.
Go full screen.
Okay. Full screen here. Does it look good on that side?
Yep. Good.
All right. So Iowa opens up the game, triangle and 2. And you're going to see it here. I'll pause so you can really see that, I believe this is Kate Martin over here, totally in denial position on Haley Van Lith, and Marshall on the other side on Kristlyn Carr, who's also one of their leading scorers. So we've got the triangle with Clark at the top of it, Sinano, and then Warnock on the bottom to round off that triangle. So right off the bat, it's always a guessing game with coaches. You don't know, what teams are going to come out with right away. Everyone knows Iowa plays that zone, but you don't know that they're going to start the game in a triangle and 2. So it's kind of hard to prepare for initially.
And it's kind of hard to even adjust and see on the fly, like how quickly they're moving in real time is a quick flip of the switch for you as a player.
Yep. So that first clip, turnover right off the bat. Again, what were your thoughts initially? Caitlin Clark's playing the top of the triangle. I think this is smart, not to wear her out and having her chase people around.
Yeah, it's going to conserve her energy. It's going to, and she's also not going to draw that many fouls doing that too. You don't want her in foul trouble. But again, it conserves her energy and it keeps her active enough at the top. And then she can also maybe leak out for some if they do get a hand on it in the paint. She's already at the top to leak out and maybe get that easy transition bucket too.
Yeah. So this game was close all the way through the third quarter, honestly. And that's when Iowa started to pull away. But here's another clip of the triangle and 2.
Same side.
Interesting to see what their plan was on screening actions. So Clark really hard hedged the whole game. Whenever there was a screening action with Van Lith, their goal is to obviously try and deny those players the ball. You want anybody else besides those 2 guys touching it and taking the shots. So you're seeing that hard hedge there. They get back and they make Van Lith give up the ball.
And it's like they want to keep her to that side. They don't want her to be able to reverse that ball through at any point. So
right, that's big. That angle, we'll see it when they get that switch.
And they
switches up with that angle.
And they force it. I don't know. I guess she gets a hand on it, but the ball goes back into the backcourt. So,
yep, making guys who don't normally handle the ball have to handle the ball
under pressure, under a lot of pressure in a tight game.
One more clip of the triangle and 2. Again, Iowa mixed their 2-3 zone and this. They would start quarters and come out of timeouts, it seemed like, in the triangle and 2, because that kind of disrupts whatever play call. Maybe if Louisville staff wasn't ready for that triangle and 2 coming out, now that play call is not necessarily going to work against that defense. So really smart by Lisa Bluter and her staff to really mix up the defenses. You're seeing not even leaving the paint on Olivia Cochran here. There's no reason to go out there. They're loaded up. And they are absolutely face guarding Haley Van Lith.
Yeah, which is exhausting as a player. You're not only, when you have the ball, you're a threat, but now you have to work your ass off to get open just to get the ball, just to, face 2 defenders in a hard hedge and then go back and to a triangle. It's whatever it is, it's just even more exhausting. So I think they did a great job of just putting a lot of pressure on her and a lot of decision-making on her to be ready to kind of make those changes and those adjustments.
So you saw 3 possessions, 3 stops. Without a doubt, Iowa probably has been practicing this junk defense all year long, just in preparation for when you're going to need it. It'll be really interesting to see how they decide to guard South Carolina. Are they just going to do the pack the paint philosophy and live or die by them making a couple threes, which a lot of teams have done? Are they going to try and actually be aggressive? Are they going to sit in the 2-3? I'm curious to see how they'll go with that.
Are they going to mix it up and do a little bit of everything? Do you?
Yeah. How do
you beat South Carolina? I don't know.
You rebound. You have to rebound. They've just killed everybody.
40% of their misses, right? It's something wild. It's almost 50% of their misses. Yeah. They rebound and go back up and either get fouled or get an extra possession out of. So do you just mix it up entirely? I don't know. Is it if on a make you do this, even get more specific, on a 3-point make you do this, on a 2-point make you do this, on a miss you do this, on a do you get even more specific and even more unpredictable in that aspect? I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. We'll touch on it again as we make our predictions at the end. But if they literally take 2 guys and just one plays in front of Boston and one plays behind, and they leave somebody wide open, just another player on the floor is being left wide open, and there's 2 players front and back sandwich style on Aaliyah Boston down low for the rebounding sake.
But I mean, is that enough? I don't know. I don't
That's a good point.
You see them lob passes in, and I'm like, there's no way that's going to make it into her hands. And what do you know? And I mean, it's not even just the way about. It's just all their posts. All their posts have great hands, and their guards are able to zing that pass into them.
No doubt. All right, you got some Caitlin Clark clips for us?
I do. Just a few
to the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, her triple double. I mean, she had 41 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, so right here, again, they're picking her up early. Let's go back. They're picking up very early. Iowa's got the ball. Caitlin Clark does not. Looks like Gabby Marshall. But they're already denying Caitlin that ball. There's already ball pressure before she even crosses half court because she's a threat. Like she's a threat from anywhere on the court. But we just see her here again. Like she just creates so much space with just a little bit of movement to knock down that shot.
The step back going left. She always likes to go left off the dribble for a three.
And I mean, the defense is there. I don't.
Yeah. There's no.
I mean, she's like. I mean, her hands are down, so maybe you got to get a hand up. Like, definitely always get a hand up, but she's pretty locked in with her and as staying with her as close as possible. I mean, we would just fall asleep on this out of bounds. Like,
oh my God, you can't. You're playing Caitlin Clark. This can't happen.
You can't do it in general, but you definitely can't do it. Like you have no one guarding the inbound pass. What do we think is going to happen? It's going to go back to the inbound passer for sure. And Caitlin Clark just walks right in and takes that shot.
Yeah, and sometimes teams, they purposely kind of have their inbounder defender facing the play so they can kind of help out.
They can see.
But you got to get matched up as soon as that ball comes in.
Yeah, you definitely have to. But I mean, she passed well. I mean, they broke, like they're kind of here in this this ball pressure here. I mean, like that's a solid like 3.5, 4 seconds right there before they even are able to get the ball in. So they had moments of really great pressure, but Caitlin Clark is just her ability to move off the ball. She's just such a threat. And I mean, look, you have this play. You got Gabby Marshall here in the corner. Caitlin Clark is going down a full head of steam. And you have one help defender here. That is forcing her to make a really tough decision.
Mm-hmm.
Do I leave Gabby Marshall and allow her an open three? Or do I go back to Gabby Marshall and allow Caitlin Clark a wide open two?
Right.
I mean, play the numbers. Like I would do that same thing. You got to play the numbers. So
and Clark's been really good this season, especially. It's just like she just makes the simple pass too. As flashy as she is, there's another play later in this game. She drives down the left rail and kicks it. The defender steps in, helps off the ball side corner, and she makes the easy pass. So she is very unselfish. And again, her teammates, we know, are shooting the crap out of it too.
Yes. 100%.
Good stuff. All right. Anything else on Iowa, Louisville? Or are you ready to go UConn, Ohio State?
Let's go. Yeah, let's go over Virginia Tech and Ohio State.
Yeah. Okay. First. I know it was UConn, Ohio State first, and then they played. That was elite, Sweet 16. Any thoughts? Just remembering back to that game. It was close, and the Ohio State pressure, which I mentioned. I remember my prediction going in was, hey, the first 5 minutes are going to determine this game. Yeah. If UConn gets off to a good start, they're going to be good. If Ohio State, I was not right about that because it was fairly close, in the beginning of the game. So I don't think any team kind of took over right away. But UConn, at the end of the day, could not handle the Ohio State pressure.
No, and it was. I mean, everyone was locked in on Ohio. Everyone was played. There was the trapping was intense. I mean, they're all just their defense and them getting out in transition and pushing the ball. They were able to get some really good looks and some great opportunities just from their defense, just being that intense. And again, it's the same kind of concept or idea about South Carolina. You can hang with them for a quarter,
right?
Hang with them for a half. You might even get some of the third quarter, but I don't know if you can play at that level when against someone when you don't go against that at practice. Like UConn is not a pressing team, so they're probably not going against a press like Ohio State. Every day.
It's hard to simulate that in practice. Yeah, it is.
It's so hard. Yeah. It's really difficult to do that. And so, I thought it was a great game.
Yeah. Shout out to Lou Lopez, though. She's still got buckets out there. I think she might have had 27. She had 20. Yeah. And then she declared for the draft. So, Lou, best of luck to you in your future endeavors. I hope she gets drafted. I feel like she will.
Yeah, hopefully it's first round and she can stick around and sometime in the W and W draft later. But
so Ohio State beats UConn, and then has to see Virginia Tech, who is a team we will mostly be focusing on from here on out, in that Elite Eight matchup, which was, I feel like that was the game that was almost most anticipated. Like, I was waiting for that one.
Agreed. Totally agreed. I thought that it was a really good test. I thought it was a really good, like, people who
the playing styles.
Yeah, people who may be doubting Virginia Tech, especially after that UConn, like, they pressed, they kind of turned the ball over a few times there.
Hey, we gotta give Virginia Tech their flowers from our first. I was like, they could have been a 1 seed, could have not been.
You were doubting them.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So I just wanted to touch quickly on a little bit of video of Virginia Tech's ability to handle the Ohio State press. So I'm going to share screen here again. And screening right here. So the first thing is they get the ball out quick. Like, ball goes through the net. They're not waiting for a bunch of guys to set up. They get the ball out quickly before Ohio State can kind of turn and find, their area or their zone, whatever, so that they can kind of keep them on their heels right away. And when you have a point guard like Georgia Amore, who is becoming quickly, I think, a fan favorite of every women's basketball fan, it's a lot easier when you've got a ball handler that's confident. So again, going back to this clip, you get it in fast, but they used screening action, which is not what I had seen. So watching UConn play, watching all their prior games, nobody had really screened the press, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
So keeping it off the sidelines as much as possible. That's what we talked about in that UNC game. They had trouble every time that they tried to go right up the sidelines with it. So keeping it in the middle of the floor. You're seeing here again, they do not get it out as quickly. It looks like they were confused on their inbounder there, but they inbound it. And here comes a little screen to screen the top of that press, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, just to create a better angle to change direction, get out in the middle. Yeah, even you can kind of see, like, even like in the last clip, like, no one ever stopped the ball. Like, that last one, he just went because she just goes. She's able to get down into the paint and score because no one stops. So I feel like that's a big thing on a press. It's like, okay, when do we call it off, and how do we? What's our alignment after that? And that's difficult to predict because you can't predict where everyone's going to be every single time it's broken. Like, no one ever stops her. No one ever meets the ball. No one ever steps. So.
And you make a great point of, like, when to pull it off, because it didn't take long for Ohio State to pull it off. They didn't end up playing their game for most of what felt like the second quarter on until it got late and they had to press again. They pulled it off.
Yeah. I think maybe it was like 6 times they pressed in the first, 4 times in the second quarter, I think was what they were saying during the broadcast. And then they did that all in the third, I don't think, then a little bit in the fourth.
Yeah. So last clip of the press again goes right back to the point guard who they want handling the ball. And here's the little screening that top guy, change of pace. And instead of dribbling herself dead on the sideline, comes right back to the middle. And now the defense isn't sure, right there. It's designed to trap on the sideline, not in the middle of the floor. So it leaves a little bit of indecision of who's supposed to be going where. And the rotations are obviously longer when the ball's in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, it was beautiful to watch them break that press. Like, they did such a great job of that. So kudos to you, because those are great clips. Those are basically what I had. So
yeah, Virginia Tech only turned it over 17 times, which might seem like a lot, but it's not. I'm pretty sure UConn had 25.
Yeah, UConn had quite a bit.
Oh, guards, man, guard play so important. So it'll be really interesting. I'm really pulling for Virginia Tech now. They're a fun team to watch.
I agree. I'm very excited for the LSU Virginia Tech matchup for sure.
Yeah. All right. We said we were going to keep this one short, so we're going to jump to wrap-ups, Final Four predictions here. Let's start with LSU Virginia Tech, Carolyn. Who do you got in this game, and do you think it'll be a close game, blowout? Where do you think we are? Final Four, so you got to take obviously that into consideration. Big crowd, Virginia Tech. I don't know. I mean, obviously they've played in some big games, but LSU, same thing. It's going to be interesting. Like, neither of these teams have been to a Final Four in a while. I don't know if Virginia Tech ever.
No, they haven't. This is their first Final Four ever. I think Virginia Tech takes it. I think it's going to be close. I'm not saying it's a blowout at all. I think this game is like within like 6 points, but I think Virginia Tech is. Oh, I mean, they really got to box. Like they have to keep Angel Reese off the boards. Like they have to, for the entire game, not just half, not just
Yeah.
But I think they've gone up against really, really, really tough defenses. And I think that has given them a confidence maybe they didn't have a month ago, or again, not in their locker room, don't know. But I would assume that you go up against a defense like Ohio State or just be, of course, you're going to have that confidence. And out of the 4 teams that are there, they are the underdog. So it's like, what do they have to
nothing to lose. Yeah.
What do they have to lose? Absolutely nothing. So they're playing maybe a little more freely and not as bogged down about what might happen, what could happen, as maybe an LSU who feels, oh, we should win this game, or, kind of things like that. But what do you think? Who takes it?
Yeah, I'm going Virginia Tech as well. I'll be interested just to see, is it going to be Virginia Tech's going to win, in my opinion, but I still have a hard time being able to tell if this is going to be a really low scoring game, because LSU, defensively, they're phenomenal. So is it going to be a 50-43 type of win, or is Virginia Tech going to speed up the pace, shoot a ton of threes still, and it's going to be a higher scoring game? I don't know. We saw LSU Miami. That was a grind of a game, like just to score the ball. So that'll be interesting, but I do agree. I think Virginia Tech's going to take it. I think they're riding on a lot of momentum, and I think they've got players that can make some tough shots, starting with Georgia Amore, like down the stretch when, the end of the shot clock comes. Like that girl is playing with elite confidence right now. So I'm going Virginia Tech. Yeah,
agreed. And their coaching staff. I mean, they're all it's all coming together for them. So I'm excited to see that for them.
Iowa, South Carolina. Are you going with who everyone's going with, or is a miracle going to be pulled off?
Okay, I will say this. If a team could beat South Carolina, I think it's Iowa. I think they have what it takes.
Yep.
I don't know if they're going to beat. I don't think that's going to happen. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. But it's you never know. Like you never know. But I do think South Carolina wins and goes on to win the championship. But I think this could arguably be one of the best games that we see in women's college basketball in maybe like 5 or 6 years. I don't know. Like I don't know.
You think it goes down to the wire? You think it goes down to the wire?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's gonna be it could be a close first half. Could even be a close first half of the third quarter.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, South Carolina pulls away.
Damn, we are on the same page, because I was going to say, because you were saying, it's going to be one of the best games. I was like, I'm going to go the other way, and I hope I'm wrong, because I want to see
it's a blowout
game. I do. I think the athleticism, the length of South Carolina, and being able to defend, like they don't have just one guy that can defend. They all can defend.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of depth. So when one person gets tired chasing Clark around, here comes the next sub off the bench. Yeah. To me, I think it'll be close through a quarter. I think, and if I was lucky into the second half, they'll be within 10, but I just don't know if they don't have an answer on the glass. When Cardoza comes in the game, Boston, I think this is going to be, I don't think it's going to be close, but I hope it is. I hope it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the end result will be close, but I do think it will be close through maybe the middle of the third.
Okay.
Maybe. But whoever, I think it's again,
have faith.
It's the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, right? It's like how do you start that? That dictates everything. So in my mind, that's kind of it.
Yeah. Well, I cannot wait. We'll do, I guess, a final recap. Once we have our national champion next week, either Monday or Tuesday, we'll get that out. But before we go, I just wanted to quickly hit on, and Carolyn, you could speak to it first. I don't know how many Final Fours you've been to. I don't know if this is 2, 3, or you've been going for quite a bit now, but just the benefits. Talk through, like, why do you choose to go to the Final Four every year? And what do you feel like you've taken away from the experience, just for some younger coaches, maybe like some college players who are deciding, obviously the networking piece, but just speak to it.
So this is my second one. Okay. Last year was my first.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was your first one.
Yeah. So it's kind of, why I enjoy going. There's 3 things. Number one, you are able to see people in person that you have connected with through social media.
Prime
example is exactly is us. We connected what 2 years ago, and we didn't meet until last year in person. So it's really cool to be able to do that. That's number one. Number two, just the learning. It is what you want to put into it and what you take out of it, right? Like I could come here and not go to any sessions, not go to any roundtables.
You could just go out to the bars and drink, and that's it.
Right. Exactly. And I'm sure there's people that do that, and kudos to them. Like if that's what you want out of your Final Four experience, that's great.
Right.
I am here to learn while also enjoy myself. But there's a balance. And I think that the learning aspect is really nice because it's a lot of different things in one area. Like I'm gonna go to a bunch of different things tomorrow that across the board have nothing to do with each other except that it's basketball. Like, and it's nice to be able to pick and choose what you want to go to, on court stuff. If you want to go sit and not a lecture type, but listen to someone tell their story and their experience, or listen to coaches say what X's and O's work for them, or more on court stuff. And that's more of like a visual and get more of like a hands-on type of feeling. So that's the second one. And the third one is just to meet people that are as interested, that care as much about women's basketball, that you can have an actual genuine conversation with them and they know what they're talking about. And it's not like you have to explain everything to them, or like, why is this not like the men's game? Like, okay, like I don't want to explain it to everyone. So it's nice to meet people that you have this really big thing in common, especially as coaches. It's not, this profession and this job is not for everyone. And so it can be difficult to help people relate to you.
Yes.
And what you do and why you do it. And so it's nice to be with people that you don't have to explain why you love what you do and why you're okay with giving up your Saturday, Friday, Sunday with a team, So I think that part is the community aspect of that for me are some big reasons why I go.
Yeah, well said. I mean, just adding on to that, because everything spot on, is just the access that you get, or the potential access, because it's not like you automatically just are going to meet people. Like you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
Yes, 100%.
But you have access to coaches that that you wouldn't see, or that are across the country that you'd never see in person unless you were playing against them. And no one's talking to the other team that much when you see them. Exactly. So this is an opportunity. Like, if you see a coach that you've admired, or you've listened to a podcast, or, watch all their games, whatever it is, like in the lobby, like this is the time, like go introduce yourself. And for me, like that wasn't easy last year. Like I remember I met Mike Neighbors last year, who I, have been following all the, 7 seconds or less, love like everything that they do, since Kelsey Plum in Washington. So I remember last year I met him out once. Coach Fabry actually helped me out with that. She knew him. So that was really cool. Like, and, not that I had an extensive conversation, but now like he might remember that name down the road. Like, so there's opportunities to meet people that you've kind of looked up to. And then again, people your age, like us, who, you can obviously build and create friendships and relationships with down the road. So I think it is, like you said, what you make of it, and you've got to be willing to get out of that comfort zone. If you are scared to go up to people and scared to introduce yourself, you're not going to get everything out of it that you could, because everyone is there like trying to meet people. So just don't think that it's exactly. You know what I mean?
And then people, I was just in the elevator, and in the span of all the floors I had to come up to get to my hotel room, because it's massive, probably like 6 or 7 coaches got on, and every single person said, "Hey, how are you?" Yep. And it's not a conversation, but it's an acknowledgement of, "Hey, I see you. I see where you're at," because we're all wearing our school gear.
Yep.
And it's nice. It's just a nice community atmosphere, and you get to reconnect with people like that. I saw last year, hey, I've already hit them up. We're going to grab food. We're going to hang out. We're going to go to the same thing this year. And so it's nice in that part where maybe you connect with someone who lives across the country, who you're not going to see, and so it's nice to also have that familiarity too. So I highly recommend, if you can go. And
I'll be there next year. I'm saying right now, I'm in there. I'm there.
I know you're jealous.
I am. But all right, that'll wrap up this one. I just wanted to add that in at the end, because I just think it's important. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to hear all about how it was, and hopefully the games are really close. So we will catch back up Monday or Tuesday. We'll get this one out, and that's what we got for this episode.